Hi, this is Josh from Over the Shoulder Coding, where I help you prepare for software engineering interviews by guiding you through solving real problems. In this series, I will walk you through HackerRank's 30 Days of Code challenge day by day. Before I get started on today's problem, I want you to help me out by answering a short survey to provide feedback on this channel and how it can be improved. The link is in the description below. Today, we're going to discuss generics. Generics is an important part of strongly typed languages. It does not exist in Python, so we will be using Java today. The same way typed parameters allow you to interact with a function while guaranteeing types, generics allows you to interact with data structures while guaranteeing that all elements of a data structure will be a certain type. In Python, when you iterate over elements in a list, there is no guarantee that all the elements are integers or objects or a specific type at all. But in Java, when you describe your list, you say it's a list of a specific set of objects, a list of strings or a list of integers. The strong typing helps to ensure that all objects in your list are instances of a specific object and make it easier to interact with the elements of a list since you already know what interfaces they implement. Sometimes though, you want to be able to write a function or data structure that will be able to operate on elements without forcing a specific type of elements. AKA, you want to be able to take in generic elements of an unspecified type. Think of the list example we just talked about. There is no way Java has a list implementation for each type of object. Instead, they have a list implementation that can work with any type of object by describing them in terms of generics. When you instantiate the list, you tell the list constructor what type of object the list will be interacting with. And for the rest of that list's lifecycle, it will enforce the strong type on that instance of the list. Now our task today is to implement a print array function that uses generics to allow it to print differently typed arrays. We will use the same method to print out an array of integers and an array of strings. To ensure that we are using generics, HackerRank actually tests to make sure that our printer class only has one method implemented. Because in Java, we could overload the method signature by having two methods of the same name take in differently typed parameters. Now, it's pretty simple to write a for loop that prints all the elements of an array. But how do we interact with elements when we don't know their type? This is something that's almost taken for granted in Python, but is always top of mind in a language like Java. Just look at the code that HackerRank has provided for interacting with the test input. Each variable that is declared is given a type at allocation time. The first thing we take in from the input is given a type integer when it's created. And then the rest of it is added to an integer array. And the rest is added to a string array. We wouldn't write our print array method in a way that takes in an undefined object, then checks if it is an array, then checks each element in the array to make sure their type is an int or a string, and then prints it. This is why we leverage generics. In our printers class, we see that in the interface it takes a type. What T means here, or T in brackets, is that it takes in a generic type that it refers to as type T. And we can reuse that generic type in our print array method by taking an array of type T and printing out its elements. The implementation of this solution is quite simple. We will create a method print array that loops over the elements and prints them out. But the difference here is that Java takes in specific types. So normally you would say an integer array. But we want to use generics. and taken a generic array of type T to print out its elements. And so we're going to leverage what they've already done in the printer class and reuse that type and print out elements that are generically typed that we don't know what type it is beforehand, but when we initialize this printer class, we specify that type at that point. So you can see here, a new printer is being specified, a new printer class that's an integer printer. It takes in a type integer, and when it's being used in integer print array, that's taking in this integer array. And that same class, printer, is also being initialized with string later. And the string printer is being used here to print out a string array that's a completely different type. So let's test it out. The beauty here is that we're able to take in integers and strings and have our one method interact with both of them agnostic of type. Let's submit it. Alright, looks like we passed. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to fill out the survey. The link is in the description below. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you'll know when I post the next video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you missed the previous video, you can click here to review it, or click here to view the full HackerRank 30 Days of Code Challenge playlist. If you want to see me solve other problems, please comment down below. Thanks, and I'll see you later.